Hi, it's Jim. Welcome to Better Radio Websites, the podcast that wants to help you get more visitors and the most revenue from your radio station website. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. And again, we are coming to you from the Columbia Theater in downtown Hammond, Louisiana. I happen to be here at a broadcasters convention, and this is actually the second interview that we're doing, and this time with Mr. Tracy Johnson. If you haven't heard of Tracy, he is a radio consultant, been in the business forever, lots of great information. Every time he speaks, every time he writes, it's great information. And today, we're talking about just digital and radio stations and how to incorporate AI into programming and all kinds of great information that AI can actually provide for your radio station, both on air and online as well. So great conversation with Tracy, and it's coming up right after this. Tracy, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really appreciate you being here.
It's a pleasure, Jim. It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too. It's fantastic that we're meeting in a setting like this. This is a perfect place to meet you for the first time. I've really enjoyed it.
It's awesome. Yeah.
So tell everybody who doesn't know about you and the great work that you've done. I mean, obviously you've been in the business forever. I've known about you forever, but tell everybody, what you've been doing and what you have been doing in your journey throughout this entire broadcasting career of yours.
Well, Jim, it all started at a small hometown radio station in Ord, Nebraska.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this since I was 14. And I went from being on the air in a tiny little market in the middle of Nebraska to the University of Nebraska, where I became a program director for the first time. Went from there to Kansas City, to Jacksonville, Florida. The radio.
Oh, yeah.
The radio, pack them up and move them to another market.
Right.
In 1989, I became a consultant with Allen Burns & Associates and worked with Allen for 3 years, and that was really a higher education in radio for me. Allen was terrific.
Yeah.
In 92, I moved to San Diego. Happened to be in the right place at the right time and helped two stations go from worst to first. We went from 19th to first in 1993, and then went to across the street and took a station from 23 to number one.
Wow.
A couple of years later. I became the market manager for the cluster. Did that for about 15 years. 2007, I joined Triton Media, Triton Digital, and worked with over 200 radio stations on audience engagement, on air, online, digital, and sales. And then started the Tracy Johnson Media Group in 2011, and that's what I've been doing since.
Wow, yeah, and now you blog, you're on YouTube. I see you almost like everywhere. I mean, and you do this in addition to consulting and everything like that too.
Well, it's all part of it. It's all part of the ecosystem and part of branding. And it's one of the things that I really learned when I was working with Triton about how important digital is. Yeah. And that it's you're no longer just a radio station or just a broadcaster. You are a brand that happens to have a radio signal and a loudspeaker as one of your tools to communicate and connect with people.
Sure.
And so as digital media and social media has become more important, I've tried to leverage that and reflect how people are consuming content. And as broadcasters have gotten so busy, through consolidation, budget reductions, fewer people doing more work, more asked of those broadcasters. I can't expect to get them on the phone or come to their market and meet with them for 3 days anymore. Sure. So the more I can give it to them in bite-sized chunks, whether it's an article or an ebook or a video or a seminar that they can watch on demand, the easier it is for them to consume. So it's really reflecting the marketplace.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that gives me some confidence that I'm doing the right thing with this podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As you go into these markets, are you still seeing some pushback as far as the digital is concerned? I mean, the folks that I talk to, some of them still have this mindset of, I got into the radio business, I didn't get into the digital business. Yeah. So you still see that?
I think it's gone from pushback to resistance. And now it's going from resistance to acceptance, but not commitment yet.
Right.
And that to me is the problem. Even at this conference, I've overheard several conversations with people saying, I'm chasing these digital dollars, but I can't really invest in it because that just cuts into my profits from over-the-air broadcast.
Wow.
And they're looking at it kind of backwards
in
a lot of ways. One of the things that I learned long ago, in 2003 when I was managing the cluster of stations in San Diego, we had over 200,000 people in our email database, and we were connecting with them on a weekly and sometimes on a daily basis. And we drove $750,000 in non-spot digital revenue in 2003. You can do it. Now, the way that we did it is we had to hire digital salespeople.
Okay, yeah.
Who didn't know anything about radio, and I still see radio stations trying to train their radio salespeople who know how to go out and sell spreadsheets and ratings to media buyers who want to buy radio, and they're still talking about 30s and 60s instead of the way digital media is purchased today.
That's right.
So one of the things that we did was hire digital people and taught them how radio can help them spread the media, and it was highly effective. Because if you're a digital marketer, what do you need? Well, you need to create buzz and you need to create eyeballs. Radio can do that. But if you're trying to blend the two and make digital just a subtopic of broadcast, you're going to continue chasing it and not unlock all the value that could be there.
That's right. That's right. You know, I've talked to radio people, and they've radio salespeople, and they've been like, you know, I'm like, are you selling your website? Oh, no. Well, why? Oh, I don't know anything about it. I'm like, well, the homepage is your morning show, all right? And the website is just another radio station that you have in this group.
Yeah.
And you can have sponsorships on all the pages and the weather forecast in the page and stuff like that. And so treat it as a radio station. You see this, really, I never thought of that. But actually hiring digital people, that's probably a better thing because they're thinking digital first.
I'll give you a great example. I was working with one of my clients, we'll go nameless because it would embarrass them if I identified them. And they said, can you help us create digital dollars the way that you talk about doing it? I said, sure. So I worked with them for a week and had them bring all of their clients. Every salesperson was required to bring one client per meeting to a series of meetings we had 3 or 4 meetings a day over 3 days.
Okay.
So the radio salespeople were sitting through my presentation about 12 times in a very short period of time, and the response of the advertisers was overwhelming. Like 70% of them wanted to buy something. One agency that came said, can you come and meet with us? I want you to meet all of my buyers. And so I went with a couple of account executives from the station. They were representing an attorney, and the attorney wanted to break into the divorce attorney category.
Okay.
So I said, no, that's easy. So tell me, what is their profit margin for the average person who comes to this attorney? How much money do they make for someone who goes through the process? And they know the number.
Sure.
They said, about $10,000. I said, okay, and what percentage of qualified leads that come to them do they turn into customers? And they said between 70 and 80%. So if their profit is $10,000 and 70% of them convert, then each lead that comes in is worth about $7,000 to them. Right. They said, yeah, that's right. I said, so if we could deliver leads at $1,000 a piece, how many leads would they like? They said, well, there's no budget for that. They'll take those leads all day long. And I said, so would they give us a divorce to give away as part of a promotion that's promoted and powered by our radio stations? We had 4 stations in the cluster.
Give away a divorce?
Give away a divorce.
Okay.
$10,000. We called it Ditch Your Dude. Ditch Your Dude. Thinking about getting a divorce? You need someone to represent you.
Yeah.
So it came with no commercials, no promos, no promise, just everybody who comes through and signs up to win, enters to win, online form.
Right.
That is looking for, if I sign up to win, I'm thinking about getting a divorce. I'm not
They're
going to
a lead already.
I'm pre-qualified,
Yeah.
right? So all they had to do was tick the box that said, yes, I'd like to talk to this attorney about my situation. We had 150 people enter the contest that they were willing to pay $1,000 a piece to access.
Wow.
$150,000 for a station promotion to give away.
Yeah.
It got blown up because the general manager said, yeah, but they don't advertise. How many spots are they going to buy?
Oh, no.
They delivered that message back to the agency, agency calls me at home and said, can you come back and talk to us, but leave the radio salespeople at home? We just want to talk to you because we want to do this idea with all the other radio stations in town.
Oh no. Wow.
And those opportunities are out there for everybody, because one thing that radio has is the ability to create action.
Yes.
We can create a call to action. We can motivate people by getting them to do what we want them to do. And it doesn't have to be just through 30 and 60-second commercials.
Yes. So is that the story that you give these radio stations that give you a little pushback on things?
I tell them that story and they say, well, how do we do that? I said, well, it's really easy. I just described it to you. I gave you everything that you need to make that happen. The difference is what they don't have is the language to speak.
Okay.
They don't speak the right language because most radio stations have veteran salespeople who have sold radio or television, traditional media, for decades. They need an influx of young people who don't understand radio and TV to come in and sell these promotions and then back that up with, and we're going to promote it on our traditional media outlets. That's how we're going to get more attention to it.
The radio stations that you talk to, they can't do any of this unless they have a website that is worth going to and has content on it. And
well, if I come to the website to sign up to win that contest and it's nothing but a feed of what Taylor Swift is doing today, and just junk, because a lot of stations are just junk. They think that the station always has to be updated and has to be fresh. So the easiest way to do that is to sign up for an automatic feed that dumps stuff on the side. Well, it does need to be updated. It does need to be fresh. It does need to be dynamic, but it should be about your brand, not about somebody else's stuff.
Exactly.
And with your services and your tools, it makes it easy to do that, but it requires someone who's a stakeholder that's programming that website like it's a brand.
That's exactly what we say, is programming your website.
You've got to program the website. And when I come there, I can't see a link to a contest that expired last fall, or hey, read my blog, and you go there and it's been since 2021 that somebody updated it.
That's right.
It needs to be a living, breathing entity that provides value when people come there. Because if they get lost in it, they're never coming back. It's like going to a restaurant and they're offering daily specials. Oh, that was from 3 months ago. We don't have that on the menu anymore.
Exactly. And now, speaking of content, you're like the guy behind Radio Content Pro. Did you create this, or what?
You want me to tell you the background story?
Please.
I'll shorten it as much as I can. You can edit this as much as you want. About 3.5 years ago, I got a call from a company who was trying to create AI voices and AI video avatars that would be marketed to radio stations and television stations. And they said, we've got the technology down, we've figured out how to do this, but we can't get the content right. Can you help us figure out how to automate the content? And I was playing around with AI back then, which I thought when AI first started to get traction, I saw it as the coolest thing since music scheduling software.
Of course.
which I mean, talk about unlocking potential. And so I was into prompting. So I worked with them for about 6 months. And I figured out the content piece, using AI, using the prompts, and every time we got close to being able to release a product with AI voices, AI video, technology leapfrogged. It moves so fast. And so they were ready to release a product. I said, you know what? Our audio sounds terrible compared to this now. So back to the drawing board. We were constantly chasing technology. So I pulled out of that project and went to my son, who runs a digital marketing company. His name is Andrew. He's got a company called WP Media. And he's a web designer, he's a developer, he's a coder. And I said, you need to learn AI, because I have an idea that will fix 10 problems that radio stations face today. He said, what are those problems? So I gave him a list, and I said, so here's what I've been doing, showed him everything I've been doing. You need to figure out how to turn this into a product that we can offer radio stations. So we worked for all of 2023. We started in November of 2022, and by August of 2023, we had Radio Content Pro up and running and working. And it took a year to get the prompts right, to get the sources right, and to fine tune and test it. We launched in November of 23. What Radio Content Pro does is it's trained AI agents that go all over the internet to sources that we've hand selected. Have to be verified, it has to be accurate, it can't be spam and scam and inaccurate information.
That's good.
So we spent a lot of time vetting every source, and within 2 minutes of the time a story is published, the AI grabs the content, curates it into 13 different ways to use it for radio stations to use on the air, online, in news departments, and social media.
Okay. Wow.
It includes video scripts, it includes teases, it includes stories written like a newscast, a blog that can be published online, social media posts, and it does it in multiple voices. So there's a different service for every format.
Oh yes, absolutely.
They have 13 different formats. And more coming, because we just figured out how to do nostalgic formats like classic hits and classic rock.
Yeah, because the delivery for like a soft hit station would be different from a rock station.
Yeah. So first of all, the sources are different for every service.
Ah, okay.
So we look for, let's say we're doing it for a mainstream AC or a soft hit station. We would look for sources that are targeting, say, 30 to 54-year-old women with a particular mindset, worldview. They use the brand for specific things. So we look for sources that are going to feed that and fit that. So number one, it's curated for the audience.
Right.
Now, the AI prompts that we use are also written for the format. So we target the audience. Next, we target the format. Here's how a mainstream AC station would use the content targeted to this person.
Right.
So all the prompts are written very specifically for that format. And then on each page of the Radio Content Pro content, there's an AI agent, an assistant that we named Ava Hart.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And so her picture's in the lower right-hand corner, and you can click on Ava and it'll pop up a conversation, and you can say, Ava, I want you to rewrite this with a positive outlook. You can take a car crash that killed 7 people and say, find something positive in this that can be an uplifting, inspirational story.
Right.
For my audience, and it'll rewrite the content for you.
Nice.
Or you can ask Ava, how will my audience respond to this? If I say this, what would you expect my audience to say? If I say this, can I get them to call with interesting stories?
Right.
If those stories come in, what kind of stories would I expect? We just did it with a program director on a classic hit station. He was giving away Joe Walsh tickets. And I said, how are you giving away the tickets? He goes, I don't know. And I said, well, let's ask Ava how you should give away these Joe Walsh tickets. She gave her 7 ideas. He chose one of the ideas about the most outrageous thing you ever saw at a Joe Walsh concert.
Okay.
And I said, you're not going to get that many responses. Let's have her give you some stories. She wrote like 10 amazing stories that he then assigned to a listener to prime the pump and get the content started.
Of course, yes. Oh, that's great.
So it's unlimited in how far you can go with it.
Yeah. So not only do you get a content service, you get the consultant behind the content.
Well, you're getting ahead of me here just a little bit. By the end of the summer, we're releasing what we're going to call Ava Hart Studio. Now, Ava has been trained on basically everything I have ever come across, learned, and know about radio.
Wow.
So that's her knowledge base. And she's also got access to the most professional version of ChatGPT.
Okay.
So she can support it with something that's outside of radio, but she understands radio. So you could tell Ava, I'm the midday jock on a hot AC station in Market 27. She knows what that means and will communicate with you based on that.
That is so unreal.
And she'll help you solve problems. And we're also creating a dial-in phone number where you can call Ava and have a conversation with her.
So if you're out on a remote or something like that, you can call and
you call and say, hey, Ava, I'm a program director in Boise, and I'm having trouble with my morning show. They're not teasing properly, and I don't know how to teach them. What do you suggest? And she'll think about it for a second because she'll access all the content, and she'll start asking questions. What kind of problems are you having? Are they doing this? Are they doing that? Well, you might talk to them about this.
Is this your way of living 1,000 years?
Obsolete.
No, but I mean, but taking your knowledge and just
So I'll tell you where this came from. I've got a website that I've had since 2012 called the Insiders Radio Network. I started as a repository for my clients because I had the same conversations over and over, so I started putting it online and giving them access.
Sure.
It's a really deep and rich site now. But there's so much content in there, even my clients who go there can't find what they're looking for. It's like a radio station website.
Right.
So Ava has all of that cataloged. So if you say, Ava, I'm having trouble with music rotations, the same songs are coming up in the same hours every day and I can't figure out what went wrong. So she'll access all the articles, all the seminars, everything that I've ever done, and within a couple of seconds she'll say, oh, you know what, it's probably day part restrictions. Have you looked at that? Yeah, I've looked at that, that's not it. Okay, well then it might be this. And when you identify what it is, she'll keep taking you deeper in that conversation to tell you how to troubleshoot.
Not just come up with some sort of answer based on the amalgamation of all that information. She's going to guide you through a process to finding the right one.
And then she'll get creative with you at the end. She'll say, okay, now that we've identified the problem, do you want some tips on how you can make your station sound better using this information?
All right, so so you probably have people lined up to get Radio Content Pro.
Well, we do. You're actually the first person that I've told about what's coming with Radio Content Pro.
Oh, nice.
Ava Hart's out there now, and she's on board. But her studio and some of these services that I've just described are going to be rolled out over the summer.
Oh, fantastic! Well, I cannot wait to experience that. And man, it's just so amazing to see how technology has evolved and how we're using it to make better radio.
You know, I look at it, I'm old enough to be one of the first to use music scheduling software when it came out. I was in Lincoln, Nebraska as a music director. I was 21 years old. And in 1980, RCS came out. And it was on the big 5 1/4-inch floppy disks, and you had to change them all the time. So it took 29 minutes to schedule a day of music, and then you had to go in and fix it all. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I was given had so much negative feedback saying it's going to ruin radio. This is taking the human touch out of radio. I said, no, I can't keep track of what song played at what time the day before.
That's right.
The computer can. It's making me better. It's a tool that I can be more creative because I don't have to think about some of the details.
That's right.
And that's what AI can do for you if you use it properly. It doesn't do your job for you. It makes you better at doing your job.
Absolutely. And it's just like we've gone through progressions of adding technology to radio. You went from carts to CDs, and into automation systems and voice tracking, and you went from typewriters to computers to and so this is just the next thing. So for the folks out there who are, I don't know about AI,
they're the same people who said, I don't know about this voice tracking thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't. That's not live and local.
Right. Yeah. Or I don't know about this website thing. We need people to listen to the radio.
Yeah, I'm not going to stream my radio station online. No, I need them to listen.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, Tracy, thank you so much for being here and sharing this behind the scenes and what's coming for Radio Content Pro. That's very, very exciting. Tell everybody how to get in touch with you, how to get Radio Content Pro, and to follow you wherever you want to be followed.
For Radio Content Pros at radiocontentpro.com, and there's a new product called Local Beat that you can get your local market, and that's included at radiocontentpro.com. So you can get it there. If you want to reach me, I'm Tracy, Tracy, at tjohnsonmediagroup.com, and the website is cleverly tjohnsonmediagroup.com.
All right, fantastic. Thank you again, Tracy, for being here. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. And what a fantastic conversation, and a fantastic place to have it here at the Columbia Theater in Hammond, Louisiana. This has been an awesome venue, awesome conference, and of course, awesome conversations with Tracy. Of course, hit him up on his website, reach out to him. I mean, every time he speaks, every time he writes something, it's great information, practical information that you can put to good use and see great results from your radio station. So be sure to reach out to him. And if you need help with your radio station website, that's why we're here. Reach out to us at skyrocketradio.com. Have an awesome week online making your radio station website better. We'll see you next time.
Looking to maximize your radio station's digital presence? Skyrocket Radio delivers custom websites and mobile apps built exclusively for radio stations by radio professionals. Our websites engage listeners and drive revenue, while the integrated apps keep your audience connected wherever they are. It's a complete digital solution designed to boost your station's reach and ad sales. To take your station's online experience to the next level, visit skyrocketradio.com.